How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It helps out, means a ton. You guys get plenty of fun stuff, not just Kaiju number 9. We cover plenty of manga on the channel, and yes, I said Kaiju number 9, and yes, I put it in the thumbnail. No, I didn't put it in the title because that's bad for YouTube searches, but yes, I put it in the other ones, and yes, I said it because until further notice, this series is called Kaiju number 9. I'm sorry, that thing is an absolute monster. Did you see that thing? Kafka, I apologize. I love you, buddy. You're still, like, really high up on the charts on character-wise. But you gotta earn this title back because, yeah, okay? Anyway, this chapter was absolutely wild. Before we start going into I called it, I called this, I called that, this wasn't the hardest thing to call in the world. There was only a couple different routes we could really go with this. So, with that being said, I called it! Okay, it still feels good to say. It feels good to say you called it. It just does. I'm sorry, sue me. Anyway, getting into it though, we have a really quick flashback between Isao and Narumi where Isao tells him, after I have completed this strongest division that I have planned, I'm going to be stepping down completely from combat. At that point, the defense force, no, the nation will be in your hands, Narumi. So then we cut back in, and Narumi's walking up towards Isao, and this is when Kafka ends up finally noticing, well, he starts to say, Isao, thank God you're all right. He notices that that is not Isao. What I was saying at the end of last chapter, that is not Isao. And he tells him, he says, Captain Narumi, that thing. And right as he says this, right as Narumi looks away from number 9 immediately starts raising up his finger to shoot at both of them. Says that thing is not the Director General. And oh my god, the panel of like Isao's face morphing into number 9. Stopping real quick. Oh, this is so terrible that this happened to Isao. But oh my god, for the story-wise, this is so insanely good, crazy development. The mixed emotions I have from 1, happy because I called it. 2, I hate number 9 so much for this because I've started to love Isao like I'm supposed to. But yet it's so awesome, and number 9 is finally getting payoff from being in the story since, well, very early on in the story. It's so good. It's such a mixed bag of emotion and feelings, but it's so hype and gotta give a little clap for it. Alright, so Narumi looks back, and in this morphed up panel of Isao and 9, he's starting to fire off the blast at them. I didn't notice that in live reaction. I was just, this is so hype. Anyway, he's already starting to fire off the blast, and Narumi's like, oh crap, he's right. So this gets fired off, and Matsumoto also does a very good job in this chapter of using the small panels for little details that are actually pretty important. So one of the small panels was number 9 raising the hand up while Narumi looked away. Important little detail to the flow of the combat and the actions and the timing of everything that's going on in real time in the moment. So yeah, good job on that. Anyway, so yeah, fires off this blast. Narumi and Kafka both have to dodge away. Nobody gets any time to really absorb what's going on with Isao and number 9. We're straight into it. So this is by far the biggest explosion we've seen from one of number 9's little finger blast things to date. This is a big explosion, and once again, we use a smaller panel to show Kafka covering a lot of distance with like motion lines and all of this stuff. So yes, we are showing the detail that they had to cover a lot of distance to not get caught up in this blast, really giving us a feeling for how big it was. And then we get the big reveal of Kaiju number 9 in his new glorious form. I said it was like number 9 and number 10 had a baby. He looks terrifying. And with what we see him do in this chapter, he feels terrifying. And we have Narumi trying to call for Isao, saying, Isao, please respond. And we have number 9 telling him, Isao? You mean the suitable one? I killed him and fused with him. And he has his little earpiece there as a little bit of proof. So Narumi and Kafka are extremely pissed by this. Narumi starts to say, who in the... All of a sudden, Kikoru comes out of nowhere on top of number 9 saying, who in the world would believe that lie? Blasting away at him, rolling out, and she looks up, and number 9 says, you must be this man's daughter, and starts to let a little bit of Isao's face come out. The look on Kikoru's face is pure devastation, and I feel so bad for her. And once we get more from her in this moment, and the emotional payoff from this, I don't even want to call it a payoff, because like devastation, but yeah, Kafka's telling Kikoru to look away. Narumi's just blitzing straight up to number 9 saying, "What did you do to my officer?" and starts unloading on him. He hits him with an inescapable attack. He says, "Oh, this is the inescapable attack you used on Beta, huh?" Hits him with squadron style axe, bayonet technique, whatever. Yeah, bayonet, not axe. Axe was Kikoru. Bayonet technique number 1, eruption slash, and it's just unloading on Kaiju number 9. And this is basically doing nothing to 9. He really seems unfazed entirely. And before Narumi can even go in for another attack, because he is in his head like, "Isao, you told me things were in my hand. I promise in your stead I will make sure he does not escape." Number 9 is just like, sorry, I'm gonna leave now. Narumi's like, "Wait a minute, what? No, we're not playing these type of games." 9's sitting there like, there's adverse effects right after fusing and a little bit just like chips off of his forehead, or that's not his forehead, like his temple, whatever. Anyway, yeah, Narumi, not having any of this, hops straight above him, comes straight down on top of him with a devastating attack. Should be devastating. It does basically nothing. 9 just looks up at him with the bayonet like that far into his shoulder. Granted, 9's shoulder is like that big, so not that far into the shoulder. Just grabs it and looks up at him like, yeah, when your enemy has superior defensive capabilities, you're kind of useless. Starts charging up an attack from number 2's arsenal, like the lightning kind of orb thing. He just opens up his jaw and there's a second jaw in there and this thing just... Narumi about got blasted, okay? Kafka comes in kind of for the save because, yeah, he's saying give back the Director General, throws out a huge Kaiju number 8 punch. I mean, any punch from Kaiju number 8 is a huge punch. Probably not like his full force, obviously, but probably didn't pull the punch, let's be honest. Throws it out. Kaiju number 9, before this is even happening, goes, looks down and just grabs the punch. Yeah, it did some damage to his arm, so this gives me the feeling that at least with the two of them there and with Kikoru there, Kafka will be the offensive mechanism. 9 kind of already called out Narumi for his offense not being good enough right now. So maybe Narumi will use his eyes to help Kafka make sure he doesn't get hit, give him a heads up like, hey, he's going to swing with his right because he has that future sight. He can see the nerves traveling. So sees the nerves travel to the right hand and he's like, hey, he's swinging with the right. Help Kafka avoid it more so Kafka can maybe try and chip away at him as much as possible. I don't know. I almost completely forgot to mention this because this chapter was so wild and hype and crazy and everything, but those wings that he sprouted, Moonshine, those Eisen wings, oh, that is so good. He's just like, I'm going to call it a day and just starts sprouting these wings out and you finally get to see him fully formed at the end of the chapter when he catches the punch. Oh, that was so good. I love that. That was crazy. That was awesome. Love it. 9 is just an absolute monster, and he's on an absolute power trip. Because, yeah, he just sees the punch coming, grabs it. It does some damage to his arm, but he's a kaiju. He can just heal it up, I assume. He said there were problems with fusing, so we don't know the extent of his regeneration right now. I have no idea. But still, he is a terrifying menace. And, yeah, he just catches that like, I see through you now, number 8. Oh, my God. What just happened? What was this chapter? I called it. I don't necessarily like it. It's a lot of mixed feelings. It was super hype. 9 is a great villain. Just his development over time, his scheme over time, how he's started out. He wasn't strong enough, and he knew that. That's why he didn't just go for all-out assaults, and when he did show himself, he made sure to have that retreat in the back of his mind. Until he got to the point where he's able to mold and get stronger and able to enact a plan and finally get what he wanted, this power, and now he is just a menace, and oh my God. But Isao became so good. From where he started to where he ended up, what we got from him was so awesome, and I love Isao, and seeing this happen to him is horrible. I hate seeing this happen to him, and it makes me hate 9, but it's so good. This chapter was hype. Kaiju number 8 has been incredible lately. Sorry, Kaiju number 9 has been incredible lately. Yeah, this was so good. That stuff with the fusing, but also number 9 saying he's going to leave, that is Matsumoto telling us that, hey, I'm not going to tell you how this fight's going to go. We could end up having the whole first division get on top of this guy and just gang up on him, and just enough chip damage is eventually going to get him to the point where Narumi and Kafka and maybe even Kikoru can all join up for one final big attack and maybe we can do him in. I don't know. Maybe he's just able to get away because he is insanely powerful even with these adverse effects. So I don't know how it's going to go. I kind of hope he gets away because I made a video talking about him doing that whole villain thing where he just floats off, nobody can touch him, like, I'll be back, I'm going to go make a kaiju army or whatever. That would be dope. Goes and uses his power like Ten did against the Wyverns in the Tachikawa base, subjugates them under his power, comes back with like the biggest invasion we've ever seen. Just saying, it would be dope. I don't know. This was crazy. This was hype. I hope you guys enjoyed. I can't wait to get more from Kikoru as well on this because obviously this is going to affect her emotionally more than anybody else. There are probably plenty of people who cared about Iseo a lot. But Kikoru, that is her father, her last remaining parent. Like, that's a big deal. You could see it in her face. So, yeah, this was wild. This was amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, I'm out. I'll see you next time.